Hi, I'm Kristie from coastalknitsandpearls.com. I am a Florida knitter and I share my knitting adventures through the Sunshine State. And I have returned to giving weekly updates on my knitting and reading adventures. So last week was my kids' spring break and I took the week off of work. So I did a lot of knitting in the wild. That included going to the beach, knitting. I did a knitting meetup with a knitting, more like a stitching group. They do a bunch of different kind of stitching. So knitting, crocheting, cross stitch. I knitted at a birthday party for my youngest child's friend. It was at one of those go-kart places with like all the arcade games and zip line and all that. So while she was going all over the place, I was knitting. And I even knit around the world at Epcot. We took them on Thursday to Epcot and I knitted from the first line we got into throughout the entire day. So I got a lot of knitting done last week. So I'm going to share the projects that I have finished, cast on, and whips, so works in progress. We'll start with finished. I have one of the finished products here, and I gifted the other one already. I finished, the first finished objects I had was a pair of DK uniform shorty socks. They were like a mystery yarn that I had found in my stash. They were a gift from a friend of mine's mother-in-law passed away, and she was a knitter. And so she gave me a bunch of yarn and it was in there, but it didn't have like a wrapper. So I determined, I thought it was a DK weight yarn, and I knit up a swatch and I washed it and dried it. Well, I don't dry my socks, but I washed it and flat dried it and it was perfect. So I use it to make my girls' uniform socks for school because they like shorty socks and they're just, plain white socks. So I did a pair for my oldest. That was pair number 5 for the year. It was just a DK vanilla shorty sock, loosely based on the Crazy Sock Ladies DK DK weight vanilla sock. I knit a little bit differently than she does, so I modified the pattern just a little bit, and of course hers is a full-size sock pattern and I just made it a shorty sock. So that was my first finished object. My second one is sock number 1 for my Hello Winter sock. And I've been into knitting full-size socks lately, even though I don't usually do that. I usually knit shorties all the time. So this is just a vanilla sock pattern. So it's about 20 rounds on the cuff, about 64 on the leg. I do a 35 row heel flap. And then this is a 70 round foot. And then of course the toes. This will likely be pair number 6 for the year, but I haven't knit sock number 2 yet. So this is just sock number 1. The yarn is from Freckled Whimsy, and this was the mini. So the mini was the cuff and the toes. It looked really mini to me, even though I think it's probably the same amount that they always send. So I did not use it for the heel. I was afraid I was going to run out. So it just did the cuff and the toe. So yeah, those are my 2 finished objects. 2 cast on projects. I cast on another soap sock to send to Warm Up America. And not only did I cast on, but I also have finished about half of it. This is the, Lily's Sugar and Cream cotton. So it's variations of gray and a little bit of white, it looks like. This will be soap sock number 6 that I have knit, and I'm probably gonna knit like a dozen. They're really fast and easy, and then I will ship those off to Warm Up America. So they're a soap sock. So I Kitchener the bottom, and then you can slide a bar of soap in there. It saves the soap. You can use the soap sock with the soap in it, kind of like a washcloth or a scrubby. Or you can just use it to prolong the life of your sock. But they were looking for some to, I think they give them to like homeless folks or people in need. So I had a bunch of cotton yarn that I wanted to use up, and I didn't want to do any more dishcloths or washcloths or dish towels. So I thought, oh, I'll do some soap socks. The other project I cast on, so that's a soap sock and also kind of a whip. The other project I cast on is I'm going to do some red and blue shorty socks for my middle daughter. So I cast on the cuff for sock number 1, and I'm on round 2 for the cuff. So I think I do a 10 round cuff and then maybe a 15 round leg, and then heel, flap, foot, toe. But those will be probably cuff, heel, toe in red, and the main color in blue because she's a big blue fan. So those are 2 new cast-ons and whips. My other whips, I forgot my other 2 finished soap socks. I did finish 2 soap socks. So one in mod blue, one in yellow. It's like a very sunshiny, like cheery yellow. So yeah, this is what they look like. You just slide a bar of soap in there, and then it just, you can use it, like I said, as a kind of like a washcloth almost, or a scrubby, or you can just use it to save your soap. I knitted one this past Christmas, I think, or 2 Christmases ago for my sister-in-law in like a hot green color, I believe it was. So yeah, those are my other finished objects. So I had the 2 socks, 1 pair of socks, sock number 1, the 2 soap socks were all my finished objects. Let's see. This is Hello Winter sock number 2. I am on the leg. So again, the 20 round cuff in the mini, and then the leg is started. I am not even halfway through the leg, but close. I think I'm like on round 23 of the leg. So again, that will have, it has the mini on the cuff, and it will have the mini on the toe. See, it's really small. I don't know why it seems smaller than normal. So I probably had enough to do cuff, heel, and toe, which is what I normally do when I do like a color combo. But I don't know. It seemed really mini to me, not just mini, but mini. This is sock number 1, and I'm not going to turn it I knit inside out, so I'm not going to turn it right side out because I don't want to lose stitches. But this is my Plateau de Valençol sock. So the yarn, the main body is from Destination Yarn. So I had a subscription to Destination Yarn, and this was one of the subscription socks, the purple color. I didn't love the subscription, so I no longer get it. But I chose to do a dynamite cuff, and I'm going to do a dynamite toe on this sock. Again, this is the first sock, so it's not a pair yet. And this yarn is from my Hypnotic Yarn Yarnable subscription. So it's from Hypnotic Yarn, and the colorway is called Dynamite. So my really cute dinosaur stitch markers that everyone comments on social media. I think I have a pink, a green, and this blue one. It was part of that. It was like a dinosaur theme, and also came with my, I don't have it over here, but it's a little dinosaur tin that I keep my stitch markers and mini scissors. So yeah, a lot of fun. The other sock that I'm working on, here's the green dino marker from them. So the other one I'm working on is the Dynamite sock. And so it has the destination yarn as the cuff, and it will have it as the toe. And then the main part of the sock is the Dynamite, so the Yarnable subscription yarn. And I don't remember which month that was from. I used to get their subscription, and I paused it because I was trying to catch up on some knitting, and have gone back and forth on whether or not I should restart it. So we'll see. I really like their yarn. It's very plush, and I love the colorways. They have a goodies option and a non-goodies option, so you can just get the yarn, which that wasn't an option when I was still getting the subscription, where you could just get the yarn and not necessarily the goodies. I've enjoyed the goodies though for the most part. Like I use constantly all the dinosaur stuff, so I don't mind it. The last thing that I did give some love to this past week, I knitted maybe 6 or 10 rounds on the body of my first sweater. So it's really looking like a sweater. I estimate I had 60 rounds to go to finish the body, and I knit, like I said, 6 or 10, I forget now. So approximately 1/6 done with the body, but I'm really happy with the way that it's turning out. It is my first sweater ever. I've never knit a sweater before, so I'm excited that it actually looks like a sweater. And I think it's going to be maybe a bit of a challenge to pick up the sleeves and add those, but again, I'm looking forward to that. I kind of akin it to knitting a sock tube, so I'm gonna get 9-inch circulars for the sleeves, and the like a US size 6, I think is what I'm knitting it with, and I'm just gonna knit in the round like that because that's how I feel the most comfortable. I've watched like magic loop videos and all that stuff, but if you've been following me for any time frame, you know how I feel about magic loop. So I don't want to magic loop it, and I don't use DPNs. Again, if you've been following me, you know how I feel about those. So I just, I think that's the way that I'm going to go with the sleeve. But yeah, I think that's all my finished or whips. I can't think of anything else. I also was looking for the yarn yesterday to cast on. I did some Harry Potter socks for my oldest daughter, and coincidentally, the Harry Potter colors are the same as my alma mater, so at Florida State University, FSU Garnet and Gold. So I am going to knit myself a pair of same socks, but shorties. I'm going to do shorty socks. I don't wear socks very often, but when I do, I usually wear shorties. So I'm going to knit a pair of shorties for me that I actually might get some use out of. So I was looking for the yarn yesterday, and I know I have, it's Hobby's Unicorn Solids. I use those to make her Harry Potter socks, striped socks, and they're gorgeous, and love the yarn. It's nice and plush and squishy. So yeah, I was looking for that. I know I have it. I didn't locate it, but I also didn't take everything down off the shelves and kind of look, for it. So I will do that and cast those on. I want to do them on my metal 9-inch circulars. So I'm also kind of waiting for these to become free. And when this sock and this sock come off of those, I have to knit sock number 2. So it might be a little, we'll see. But, shorties, they go quick. So I could also go to those and then come back to these. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But the other thing is what I read last week. Let's see. What did I read? I finished 2 books last week. And this morning, was it this morning? I finished what I was currently reading last week. So I finished The Burning Library, Booked for Murder, and The Mad Wife. And I highly recommend all of them. They were all very good, different styles and somewhat different genres, but all very good. I gave The Burning Library and Booked for Murder 3 stars each, and I think I gave The Mad Wife 4 stars. But that is everything that I knitted and read last week. I knitted a lot of stuff last week. I accomplished a lot. Even though I only had a few finished objects, I got really far on the projects that I was working on. I took 2 of those projects to Epcot and completed, I think it was a whole leg and a whole foot on 2 different socks. So a whole leg on one sock and a whole foot on another sock, which is pretty good for just a day of standing in lines and rides and, sitting at lunch or whatever. So, but yeah, that is all I have for this week. If you want to read this in a text form instead of watching a video, you can always go over to my website, coastalknitsandpearls.com, and I usually do a written version of this. This version actually has more stuff because I'm recording this on a Monday and I wrote that yesterday on a Sunday. So I included some of the projects that I had cast on after I wrote this, or that I worked on after I wrote this. So I got a little bit farther than the written form. But that is all for now. And until next week, happy knitting.